Alright you guys, now that we're already over 2 weeks into this NBA season, I definitely think it's safe to say there are a handful of teams across the NBA landscape that have grabbed the attention of the majority of NBA fans, and whether this is for the good or for the bad, there are undoubtedly teams that are being talked about a lot more than others. And when we're talking about the team that we're discussing in today's video, which is the New York Knicks, it's mainly for the good. Because after what this team did last season, there were very high expectations for the New York Knicks going into the 2022 season, and even when many people did not think it was possible, this team is already seeming to exceed the expectations they had through the first 2 weeks. Along with this, continue to cement the idea that they can be a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. And why we should start to believe that this team is more than capable of doing so is what we are going to be getting into in today's video. One sec, if you guys haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those noties to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. And I say it all the time, but if you haven't yet, I am highly encouraging you to hit this button, because according to the numbers, around 97% of you guys coming back to watch the content haven't even subscribed yet. So if you could, believe me, I would appreciate it more than anything in the entire world, so thank you so much. But anyways, let's get back on topic with what we're here for, and that is the New York Knicks. Because at the time I'm recording this video, the New York Knicks currently have a 5-2 record and sit as the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. And the first thing I wanted to jump into right off the bat that stands out the most to me about this Knicks team compared to what we saw last year is undoubtedly, one, their overall improvement in offensive efficiency, and on top of this, their early ability to expand the usage of their three-point shooting ability. Because to a general NBA fan who watched the Knicks last year compared to this year, you might not see that much of a difference in this team's three-point shooting tendencies. However, I am here to tell you right now that the change that we have seen so far into this season is nothing short of monumental. As we'll pull up the stats for reference and see that last year, the New York Knicks shot the 27th most threes per game out of all 30 NBA teams, and even though they shot such a minuscule amount of threes per game, they still were the 3rd most efficient team shooting from behind the arc in terms of overall percentage. However, when you compare these rankings last year to what we have seen so far into this season, where the Knicks are shooting the 7th most threes per game out of any NBA team, however, even with taking such a drastic jump in the amount of threes they're taking per game, they have also increased in their overall team percentage, shooting 39.2% last year compared to 40.7% so far into this year. Again, I know we're only 2 weeks into this season, but if this is any telling of what we're going to see throughout the entire year, this is a massive improvement for the New York Knicks. And along with this, as we mentioned, the team's overall improved offensive efficiency, the stats don't lie with this fact either. In fact, just to read off some quick numbers for you guys, out of all NBA teams, the Knicks currently have the 3rd highest offensive rating, the 6th best overall net rating, the 2nd best team efficient field goal percentage, and also the 2nd best overall true shooting percentage. I know they say stats aren't everything, but you guys, these stats that we have on the screen right in front of you are too big to overlook in my opinion. And sticking on the topic of this team's offense, there is one man in particular that has been sticking out on this New York Knicks team more than anybody else, at least in my eyes, and this is the continued improvement we are seeing out of the young rising star in Barrett. Because to put it as simply as I can, you guys, he has been absolutely balling out to start this year. Because even though his stats this year of 18.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game don't show drastic improvement when doing year-to-year comparisons, it's more clear than ever before if you are watching the games that Barrett is stepping more into a leadership type of role on this team than we have ever seen. In fact, even to stay on the topic of his numbers, he might have just started off the year on a rough patch. As through Barrett's last 3 games in particular, as I'm recording this video, he has put up averages of 27 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, while also having absurd shooting splits of 63% from the field overall and 57% from 3. And also, not to mention, over his last 2 games, scoring 62 total points on 31 shots from the field. Now, if these numbers aren't screaming to you that he is one of the leaders of this New York Knicks team, I truthfully don't know what will. And do you guys want to know what the best part is about everything that I just read off to you? Well, to simply put it, is the fact that this man is still just 21 years old. 21 years old. putting up these kind of numbers on arguably one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I don't know, you guys, I have personally always had high hopes and praise for this man, but to see him continually improve by a staggering amount on a year-to-year basis while still being this young is just insane to me. And then on top of this, I also have to mention the fact of how well Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker are starting to fit into the overall rotation and style of play. Well, instead, I should say that Evan Fournier actually started off pretty hot and has been consistent throughout all of his games so far on on the Knicks. However, Kemba Walker started off a little bit lower than what people were probably expecting, but he has continually improved his play game by game. And with Fournier putting up averages of 17.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, along with Kemba's averages of 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists per game as well, it's safe to say that so far these two signings for the New York Knicks are playing into the overall improvement of the team a lot more than the outsiders were originally expecting. Because along with this, another major factor about this New York Knicks team that is very obvious if you have been watching these games down the stretch is that there are genuinely so many different options and players for this team that they can go to when they want to hit a big shot down the stretch of the game. Because for the most part, when we look back on this New York Knicks team last year, I think it's safe to say that Julius Randle took this responsibility more times than anybody else. But now, when you think about it this year and what we have already seen, the Knicks have players like Julius Randle still, Fournier, Kemba Walker, RJ Barrett, even Derrick Rose, who I think all Knicks fans can say would be relatively confident in any of them taking the final or big shot that they need. I don't know, I could be going too far speaking for Knicks fans by saying that. If I am, please let me know, but that's just the feeling that I'm getting so far into the season. All in all though, it just feels like this team has such a different feel going into this season compared to the previous one. Because I don't want to say last year was a surprise for the New York Knicks to finish as the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, but I definitely think they exceeded a lot of people's expectations. And like we've already stated, this year it seems the Knicks' expectations going into the season are obviously much higher, and there seems to be a feeling like this team is going to exceed their expectations once again this season, but time will only tell. But now you guys, we got to get into my favorite part of every single video, and that is hearing what you guys have to think about the situation. So please let me know in the comments down below what seed you think the New York Knicks will be at the end of the year, and on top of that, what their final record will be going into the playoffs. I know it's still really early, a lot can change over the course of a year, but I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to think from what we have seen thus far. Also, if you guys haven't yet, don't forget to leave a like on the video down below if you did enjoy it, and subscribe while you're down there. I really can't say it enough, you guys. We're coming out with brand new NBA content around here on a daily basis. Trust me when I say this, you do not want to miss out on what we got coming in the future. But on that note, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for watching. I appreciate all of you more than anything in the entire world. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.